Oh, I've never had
That
that
was
before.
new. I don't know if
That
that's
was
going to come
new.
across in the recording. I guess it doesn't come across in the recording, but we do this on Zoom, and Zoom has just let us know that this is being recorded because I just clicked on record.
Because, yeah, because it is a short convo podcast. That's why it's being recorded. You probably found us, searched for us, or if you were looking for us, try short convo podcast.
Welcome. This is Asmiralai and my good friend JC Warrior of Light Cashman. And as he's mentioned, this is the Short Convos podcast where we talk about all kinds of things and we try to give some tips on productivity and time management along the way, as well as just catching up as two old friends. And
Yeah,
there we are.
bit of personal development from you, eh? As
This
I
is
found our conversation last week really profound, and it's really helped me this last week.
I'm glad
That
to hear.
discussion about finding the beauty in the chaos, it's really helped me. Like I always appreciate maybe a bit too much the how we were putting it last week, the unexplained things that we like to make reason for. And but this week it's really helped me get through some chaos as well, some moments where it's like, yeah, it's all right, I don't care if I don't make that deadline, I don't care if I don't do it right now, because I'm going to find some beauty in it at some point.
Good. Oh, I'm glad to hear. That's I think it just you have to do it because otherwise life will just drive you up the wall. I think you'll just go a little Barnby otherwise. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm glad to
it's
hear. It's been a busy
back to
week
that
then.
balance. It is. I was going to say. I was going to say I'm tired. I'm not actually that tired at the moment because I've literally just eaten. I might even have some sauce still around my chops. But I've just eaten, so I've had my little energy kick. But I'm absolutely knackered because it's been a good busy week, or only for the good reasons.
Yeah, a very similar week. I feel like I've been non-stop, and it's particularly in the realm of work. I feel like I start work at about 8 in the morning these days, and like now it's 8 p.m. and I'm still working. And after I get off this convo, I'm going to work some more. But it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not moaning about it. I'm not. It's not a rant. It's not even an issue. It's actually all a good thing that there's enough going on now that it requires a full day's effort, as opposed to what we were saying in COVID about trying to like fill space because there's only so much you can do when you're in total lockdown.
As I want to bring this up the other week, but we never got into it on the convo. I wanted to see where you were with something like this. I've had a really busy week, like 7 day week. You know, Saturday was full on work, then Sunday British squad training with a bit of travelling and everything, and no downtime basically. Just go the whole time. Again, like you said earlier, I'm not ranting. I'm not bothered by it. I actually doing all the things I enjoy doing. But the weekend before, especially as this current period of timing is, I had a really rare Saturday with nothing on whatsoever. I intentionally didn't book any trials or anything at all. Had nothing on the Saturday, and I found it really difficult, for a better word, to de-stress, to come down. And then it's made me think. Like next week we're away, we're going camping for a week, and I have to prepare. I have to try not to get too busy. You can quite often, I find a historic mistake of trying to do more before you go away. And then I find it makes it harder to then relax when you are then away. And it can, normally it's at
Yeah.
least a day, maybe a couple of days where you just have to come down and really know what it's all about. But I just noticed it for the other weekend.
Yeah, I completely sympathize with that whole thing because you feel like the logical thing in your brain says, I'm going to do loads of work the week prior. I'm going to cram so that then I can relax on my week off because I know I've like almost worked a double shift. But it doesn't work like that, does it? Because then you get off and you're still in that place. You're still kind of like the gears are still turning for like at least a couple of days before you come down. So you kind of have to do pre-holiday where you actually the opposite. You need to start winding down before the break so that you can actually then be chilled. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, massively, exactly that. and I've learned over time now to recognise it, and I've recognised it when I'm away as well. That okay, you've just got to basically de-stress, just come down, and I think it is just so important. And it was frustrating me a little bit the other week because I wanted to just enjoy a bit of time, but it's hard to explain really, but. I just felt the whole time, oh, I should be doing something, should be doing something. But I don't know if that's because you get yourself onto, for a better word, a higher frequency of working productive and everything else. But like right now, I'm trying to plan everything next week, so then there's no concerns, and for a better word again, worry. So everything's in hand because I know who I'm leaving it will be, and then yeah, I think it's the stuff beforehand that you do to come down that's important.
It's also, I think, for especially for people with like our kind of personality who like to be busy, you have to plan it almost. Like if I think what happened there with you, because this happens to me, the stars align where nothing's on. It's not necessary that you've blocked off that time. It just happened to be there was no events, no gradings, no squad trainings, and therefore this time existed. And then your default setting is fill that time. Whereas I think it's different if you said, I'm going to take this Saturday, and no matter what anyone puts on my table, I'm going to say, no, thank you. I've got something on that day. And what that is for you is to do nothing. And then you kind of give yourself permission to switch off, to tune out and all the rest. I think that's a big deal is booking in downtime.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll let you know how it goes with this camp, with this holiday. And,
the analogy I can think of is like at a tournament, ding ding, you kind of got to get yourself in a certain mindset to fight before you fight. That there has to be that process of warm up and getting your head in the right space to then compete, because once the bell goes, then you're competing. And for the majority of people, they can't just flick that switch in that moment. There's a process. And I think the same process can be put in reverse for going down, like you said, lower frequencies.
Yeah, for
makes
sure.
Sense. That's making sense. I got a top 3 if you needed one.
Oh, yeah, fire away. Oh, I was thinking of one earlier, but I thought we'd already done it. So yeah, go for it.
I'm quite sure we haven't done this one. We're going to have to write these down somewhere in our notes so that we know, because we've done a few of these now. We're going to start crossing over. Maybe this combines with a rant, maybe. Top 3 pet peeves. I heard this term again the other day.
Pet peeves. I've never heard this.
You've never heard this term?
Pet peeves. P-E...
Pet peeves. I don't even know how to spell it. I've never wrote it down. But I'll give you an example that's not in my top 3 of a pet peeve, and one that you'll understand and relate to. A pet peeve is something that it annoys you, but only in like a little itchy way. It's not the end of the world, but you're kind of like, I really wish that wasn't the way. So like a kid forgetting their pads every week for sparring, even though you know they have them, and it's the same kid, and you're just like, it's a bit of a pet peeve of yours that kids that forget their pads when they have them at home do that. Like that's an annoyance to you. It's not earth shattering. It's not going to change your life, but they grate on you. They grind your gears.
Is that your first one then? Is that your?
It's not my first one. No, I no, it is not. But I just wanted to give that to for anyone who didn't know what a pet peeve was, or we'll say grinds your gears. Things that just, they don't sit quite right with you.
You start us off then.
Pet peeve number 1: middle lane hoggers on motorways. They drive me a little bit insane. I don't like them. I don't understand them. I can only think that you're just a selfish human being, or you don't know the rules.
They pay extra tax, don't they? They pay extra road tax so that they can sit in that middle lane, even when there's no one else, or they're going extra slow. Now, I'm sure there's a button you press and you get extra road tax charge for it.
What gets me is I'm quite sure that their logic is, and I'm pretty confident of this, though I've never asked one because I don't know. I'm quite sure their logic is that it's safer, that they feel safe having more space on either side. not for the fact that you could be overtaken now from both ends and that you're irritating people so they drive more erratically around you. I think they think that being in the middle is the safe spot.
Do you leave them? Do you leave them to it, or do you instigate some kind of, shall we say, road rage?
I've really worked on it in recent years because I am naturally very road ragey. So I've really tried to personally work on it because I don't like it about myself, and Anne, my wife, hates it about me. She doesn't like road rage as. So nowadays, I just get on with it. But back in the day, I was the kind, I'd either go up behind them or I'd undercut them. A full flash. I'd give them the whole 9 yards. Not that they would care, because that's the other thing they do. They drive like this and they don't look and they don't, like that. They're alone in the universe. And middle lane hoggers.
Yeah, that's a good one, Az. Right. I'm having to really think, actually, about these. So a pet peeve is leaving, because I don't drink tea as well. So like a tea bag tea, English cup of tea, leaving the tea bag out on the side. And even worse with the spoon, with no intention of reusing it. Like if you've got a little pot and you reuse, or you're gonna, because you can compost them, can't you, or anything like that, then I'm not, no problem with that. But when it's just left on the side, and there seems to be no rhyme or reason to my girls why they do it. Right now in the kitchen there's none, but tomorrow there will be one, and then there'll be a spoon left, and it's like the dishwasher's 2 foot away and the bin's another 3 foot away. And it's like, come on, why? So yeah, left out tea bag, and I don't get sleepless nights over it, but it is what we call in these a peeve.
Pet peeve. I don't actually know the origins of the term. I kind of just assumed you would have known or heard of this, and the fact that you haven't makes me think that maybe it's not as common a thing. Maybe it's an Americanism. But yeah, you don't ever come around my mum's house. My mum has a little ceramic dish by her kettle, which is just full with multiple tea bags on spoons from one day. Multiple spoons, a spoon per tea bag, with the tea bag on the spoon, and they're all just like lodged into this little ceramic bowl. And at the end of the day, the spoons will go in the dishwasher and the tea bags go in the bin.
Okay, everyone to their own.
No idea why. No idea. All right, pet peeve number 2 for me. This will be a martial arts one. And this is specifically directed to adults, and I'll lean it towards anyone who's done grappling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, wrestling, but it applies to strikers too. People who come to training already stinking of beer. Like you arrive at training and you already stink. And we're going to do an hour and a half, 2 hours together. And in particular, like I said, grappling, and you're going to be rubbing up against me. It's just like, have the decency, man. And again, I always try to put myself in their shoes and understand why. And I guess the logic is there's no point in me showering now because I'm only going to get sweaty. So I might as well not shower. But I'm just like, you inconsiderate, filthy animal. Wash your armpits at least. Please.
Anything smell related, especially bad smell like that, I'm on a winner in the sense that I have a really bad sense of smell. I can hardly smell odors and things like that at times. I have to. It's not my first sense. Like Lauren's first sense is to smell.
Right.
And COVID, she has lost a sense of smell. It's one of the things that lingers afterwards as well. And so it drives her mad, but I have to really concentrate to smell. So, but I do notice it if someone does really stink, but they must really stink for me to smell them.
To pick up it. Whereas, like, I have no issue with like the pad smell, because pads always stink, and that smell doesn't bother me. But it's that fresh BO smell,
personal bad odor. Yeah, I know a lot of people would be irritated by that. So that's a definite gear grinder, that one. Right, the next one that comes to mind with me is a simple thing, so I think that's why it annoys me the most, is where people don't have the courtesy to say thank you. So for instance, even I think the best example is, say, a restaurant or something where you're being served, or even just a coffee shop where you're being served and you're given something by someone who's made the effort. I know they might be working or whatever else. They've made the effort to give it to you. And they don't say, and the person that's receiving doesn't say thank you. It doesn't cost anything. I think maybe it's how I was brought up, and it's just that simple thank you. And I won't correct people. I won't like push them and throw the coffee on them and say thank you for it. But it does, yeah, it does grind my gears when people are blatantly rude and not being polite.
My last one will be kind of similar in terms of manners, I guess. People who give the silent treatment. I really that doesn't sit right with me and never has. I mean, particularly when it's done to me, I really, really can't stand it. But even when I see someone doing it to someone else, I just think you lack such a level of emotional maturity, because I have no issue with, I'd rather you bark at them. I'd rather you shout at them and swear at them and give them what for than just go, not talking.
Give me more of an example, because I might be cross-wires slightly here, and it sounds like you're going on a bit more of a rant there. But tell me a little bit more.
It's nothing, but as in, this hasn't happened to me recently. I tend not to deal with these kind of people anymore. If someone's like that, I just wouldn't bother with them anymore. But I mean, they're annoyed at you for something, but rather than tell you why they're annoyed at you so that you can communicate it and handle it, they just don't talk to you. And you try to initiate the conversation, what's wrong, for example, and they'll just walk away from you. It's that treatment now. Like, this isn't my wife, this isn't any of my friends. People don't do this to me anymore. But I see it happen a lot. I see it happen, and I'm just like, that's not the way to handle it. There's a lot of ways to handle it, and I don't think that's one. Silent treatment, I don't think, is ever the answer. Yeah. This includes like ignoring text messages or ignoring an email. I think you're better off just giving a blunt reply, even if it ends up being really rude.
Yeah. When you're saying it from a point of view when there needs to be a reply, as in there's an issue.
You don't have to engage anyone and everyone, but those who are involved in your life, a partner, your kid or anything like that, I think the silent treatment is not the way to go.
I am a little bit guilty though with messages at the moment, because I'm just being a bit more disciplined on the device. So I
think that's different though. That's a different thing. There's no,
anyone out there, if I've not, it's not a silence treatment.
You're not giving them a silent treatment. Have you got one more for us?
I'm gonna really struggle, as nothing's coming. Can we come back to it before the end? Can we come back to it? And I've got it.
Oh. Have you just seen it?
Yeah, I've just seen it over here. Dust on Lego.
Oh, that's a very specific one.
Yeah. I'm looking at some Lego over here, and it's got dust on it, and it's like, why? Because you can't get the dust off it. It's like, have you ever tried getting like serious stained on dust off of Lego? Because if you wash it, it don't go nowhere.
It has crevices that are very difficult to clean. I will agree. Lego is a tricky one to clean. Yes. Toothbrush.
Yeah, and then I think I've even tried.
It counts. It's a pet peeve. It's a little annoying.
Yeah. So the because when you take the bits apart, you can also see the difference of the lines, can't you? So a bit of dust on Lego. That's definitely a gear grinder for sure.
Done. There we are. Our gears are ground.
We're I know we're both Apple lovers. Would you say you're an Apple fan?
I mean, if I didn't, I'd probably be lying if I said I wasn't.
Yeah, like my brother, for instance, is not. He is an anti-Apple person, though he has an iPad, and he will reluctantly or he will deny that it's of use. And he got it from work. I'm pretty sure he messages me most of the time on it. But I wanted to ask, where are we at with the world of Apple now? Because whether you like them or not, you've got to have appreciation for the business model, and whether you think that it's right or wrong with how much money, where they've made it, and everything else. Maybe appreciation is the wrong word, but you've got to understand that in the realms of commercialism and everything, they've been very successful. And an advert came up, an email came up the other day, and I always like looking at the Apple things. And it's the new Apple iPad, and it's a new Pro. I don't know if you've seen it, and it's got this fancy stand that turns into a case. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, I love it because I'm an Apple fan. It's like, yeah, it's got 54G this and Pixel Creme this and that, and like I'm bought, I'm sold. So I'm scrolling down, and it's like, oh, you can trade in your old iPad up to £400. I'm like, yeah. So I put in my model, and it says your iPad is worth £150, and it's like, oh, maybe not. And then you go down to the price, and like the iPad on its own's like £1,000. Then the new pen that does everything, I think you can even pay with a pen now. That's like £400, and then with a stand, you're not going to be short of £1.5 grand to get this. So it's like, I don't have £1.5 grand spare. We're about to move. I'm not going to do anything on credit. My iPad works fine. I love my keyboard as much as I'd like it. I'm not getting it. There was a point though, I was keeping up with Apple stuff. Like, I was one of the first ones to get the dome, the swivel screen iMac, and things like that. But yeah, where are we at with Apple with this? Have I just am I just not earning enough money to be in with it, or yeah? I think the phone, the 10, for instance, is it took a big leap in price and everything. I'm not knocking Apple. I love the quality of everything else, but are you experiencing this at all as an Apple fan?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword, Apple, I find it to be, because once you're bought into, and this is the word everyone likes to use, the ecosystem, which is like you're bought into the whole iMessage thing, you're bought into the shared folders, the iCloud, and all of this stuff that's very useful and very like what makes Apple Apple, where you go, oh, that just works. And that's the reason that drew you to it in the first place. The problem is the exclusivity of how you get that stuff now. So you can't switch to any other device because you will lose access to the ecosystem. You won't be able to get your iCloud stuff to your Android phone. So you have to get an iPhone. And once you get used to the iMac operating system, the idea of going to Windows for me is like, I couldn't fathom doing it. So then you're kind of a slave to whatever they price this stuff at, because I'm not going anywhere. Like, that's just the honest truth for me. It could go up to 10 grand and I'm still probably not going anywhere. But then you got the purchase decision, because it's like sometimes the product's really good, like the iPad is right now. And it's kind of like you'll stretch it. You'll go beyond what you probably would have spent for something like that, because it's like it ticks every box you could possibly want it to tick. But the problem comes when you need something, but you don't really want to buy it. Like, for example, if your laptop breaks tomorrow and you have to go out and buy another MacBook, you can't go, oh, I'll just get the cheap one, because the cheap one's still £1,000. Yeah. And you really, if you're working on it, you probably want to get a better one. So then it's like, it's £1.5 grand. And yeah, it's tricky, but they just work, man. And I'm sure Samsung's work.
I
and
feel
I'm
like
sure
it,
LG work.
but I don't
Go on,
like,
go on.
with all due respect to your Android lovers and everything else, I just don't like them. Like, I have to go on a PC every now and then with the events and, sport data and things like that. And it's like, I know it works, it serves a lot of people. And like my brother, he doesn't need the shiny, he's cool with the plastic and everything else. But I look at Windows and it's like, it don't make sense. doesn't make sense. You might as well put it in Arabic. It make more sense to me. How do you change the printer settings on a Windows? I don't bloody know. You know, on an Apple you go to the printer setting, don't you? But on the you got to download free updates on a PC and everything else. But I'm just feeling like a bit of a second hand, if that's one way of putting it, Apple purchaser at the moment. I feel like I'm living the generation behind, and I want to play with the new stuff. I don't know. It's not a rant. I just thought I'd get it out there today.
I will say on that, like the iPad you're looking at is the Pro, and the designation of that Pro on it is for things like photo editing, film editing. It's, you know, it's got a lot of stuff packed into it that realistically you're probably not going to use. Like you're going to use it for internet browsing, spreadsheets, and photos. And it's like you could probably use the most budget of iPads, which I think is still around 300, 400 quid. But what they've been really smart about is they make the Pro stuff sexy. The Pro stuff just looks better, you know? And then, like you said, the fancy keyboard, and it folds into a case, and it's an all-in-one, and it can almost replace your computer. And it's like, then all that other stuff, it's like, you don't even want to spend 400 quid because it's like, look at what that does. And they're very good at that. They're very good at they make budget stuff, but why would you want it when you look at the high end of it?
Yeah, I think this is just a shout out to Apple and how pretty they make it all at the end of the day.
They do make it real pretty.
Yeah, I'm gonna go rob a couple of banks or something for it.
Yeah, exactly. Or decide if you're going to buy a laptop again, or make a transition to living an iPad only life.
I've got some food a food topic, something food, and I don't know if I've ever asked you this. Tell me if I have. Are you a jelly man?
Considering that made me giggle, I don't think you've asked me that question before. I eat jelly. I can't remember the last time I made jelly, to be fair, but I like jelly. If someone gave me a bowl of jelly, I'd be happy to see it. I'd enjoy it. Yeah. Are you a jelly man? Why
well, I think most people think of jelly with kids' parties, do they not? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say standard assumption.
The reason I ask is because we've had recently jelly in the cupboard, and Poppy, our youngest, got most upset because it all got destroyed before she even got some. So it's like everyone is loving jelly, and I will say I really love jelly too. I've got quite a nostalgia to jelly. Maybe you got things like that there. Oh, that can be our next week top 3. I'm going to call that for next week's top 3 nostalgic things. Okay, but yeah, jelly is really nostalgic for me because my mum used to make it a lot, and we used to have these, or she had these jelly molds. So there was like a rabbit jelly mold and a teddy bear jelly mold. And whenever I eat jelly, for some reason it just makes me think of my mum and as a childhood in a really nice way. So that's why as well. So nostalgic. I'm writing it down so we don't
write it down. I have to be honest, when we had jelly as kids, it was always just in a bowl. It was just in a glass bowl, and we kind of just scooped it straight out of this big glass bowl. So, yeah. But again, like I said, I don't think as an adult, I think because I don't have kids yet, I haven't had a real reason for me to make jelly just for myself. But I'm sure when kids come, then jelly will be a regular thing. Jelly on its own. Where are you with this whole jelly and custard business, or jelly and cream?
I don't know. I don't like it. If you put the jelly, if I was served the jelly in a bowl with ice cream, I wouldn't be rude. I'd say thank you. But when it comes to anything like that with desserts, like we said with sauces, because I would class jelly as a dessert, it's separate bowls. It has to be separate bowls. And if I choose to mix it, I can. Obviously, I'm gonna mix it in the belly, but separate bowls with that, please.
So you're not a trifle guy, are you?
I have a trifle, but again, I wouldn't be rude about it.
Not your preference.
No, not my preference. But it does look pretty. It does look pretty.
That it does. Do we have anything else for us to cover?
I've got a quote, actually. I've got a quote. I come prepared with a quote. So, a life spent making mistakes is not only more honourable, but more useful than a life spent doing nothing. I thought, I thought that just tickled the right spot this week.
That's a very nice. Where is that quote from?
Have no a Google.
Google.
I've no idea. I just saw it related to something else, unrelated, and I thought, yeah, I like that. I think I was looking for a Monday motivational quote or something like that, and that one came up. I thought, yeah, I like that.
I think another top three we'll have to do at some point is top three mistakes. If we can,
Top three mistakes.
Yeah, write that one down. We can dig into that one. My quote today. I recently have been updating our welcome pack that we're going to give to new members. And then in this, we're discussing all the typical questions you get from people who join a martial arts school, such as what we teach, uniform, sparring equipment, gradings. It's all in one place to avoid me getting too many stupid questions. So I tried to put little quotes in on each page, and this is the one for the uniform page because people sometimes wonder why we wear one. This quote is, "The uniform makes for brotherhood, since when universally adopted, it covers up all differences of class and country." And that's quite an old quote, but I think it sums up the essence of why a uniform is still, I think, something of value in martial arts schools, because it seems to be going out of fashion a little bit. I think a lot of people are getting very practical in their martial arts to the extent where they're losing some of the essence of it a little bit.
Yeah, I would really agree with that. And we're actually going to tidy up all of our code and everything come the lifting fully of restrictions. Like at the moment, we've got bigger kids training with little kids so that they don't mix too much. And, people that have joined without jobs, blah, blah, blah. So I haven't pushed it too much. But as soon as that lasts, it's going to be like, right, everyone, boom, sort it out.
Bosh.
But I have laxed more on the Fight Club side of things because it is more sport based. So I look at it as a little bit more recreational. So as long as you're following the club colours or it's a sport related, not just your Nike t-shirt, then I'm cool with that. So, but yeah, something that we're going to tidy up in the coming weeks. I like that. I like saying to new people with the uniform as well that what you just said, that it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your affluence, doesn't matter your color, doesn't matter your size. We all wear the same uniform, so it kind of puts everyone on the same level, the same place.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Well, I think we're due another martial arts special at some point. Maybe we can talk more of like these kind of things, the intricacies of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Go a little deeper. Well, there we go, guys. I think we're about wrapped up.
Peace out. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Like and share, and we will see you on the next one. Boom.
Boom.